Good morning, GCode Nation. There's been a buzz about the post we made a few days ago on Vinny Mallia, 87 years old, who's still playing tennis and golf at a high level at 87. Think about that. 87 years old. I mean, most people in the world would say, I'd be happy if I'm still alive at 87, or if they can still walk and get around at 87 would be a feat. But Vinny's playing competitive tennis twice a week, shooting 18 holes of golf the other 4 to 5 days, and I just can't get over this. He's a complete anomaly. Besides just posting this pic, we posed a question to our followers on what they were doing now to try and ensure that when they were 87, they'd be as active as Vinny and physically still be able to do the things they love at that age. Well, the feedback we received and the responses have been tremendous. And you know at GCode Nutrition, we like to deliver what our consumers ask for. So we have a special treat for you today. We're going to be interviewing Mr. Vincent Mallia to hopefully tap into his secrets. Let me give you a little background on Vinny. He was born on the island of Malta and came to America when he was 18. And since, he's been the epitome of the American dream. An entrepreneur, a professional athlete, a family man married to his wife, Doris, who's incredible for 65 years. She's pretty amazing herself, and that's a whole other interview. The father to 5 sons, grandfather to 15 grandchildren, and someone who I believe has found what generations before us have been searching for as well, and that's the fountain of youth. Vinny has seemed to tap into it, and today we're going to dive deep to see if we can unveil or uncover any tips or clues as to what Vinny has done to make this happen and live this extraordinary life. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Vinny. Vinny, welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this today and welcoming into your home. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Excellent. I see it. Look at, I mean, this is where you live, right here, the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean to your back, the bay to your right. Let's talk about your fitness journey. Let's talk about the beginning. What age did you start your journey into sports and fitness?
Oh, that actually started when I started walking, I guess. And my thing was to just get out of the house and go running in the fields. And if there is a soccer board, then I was going to be kicking it, and play games or whatever the case may be.
So you just wanted to be moving pretty much from the time you can remember?
Yeah, I had no time for staying home, yes, for sure.
Now, when did you know you loved soccer for the first time? Like, how were you introduced to the game?
Well, soccer was the only game in Malta at the time. Soccer in the summer, water polo in the winter. And soccer was my game. And I played every chance we had, one-on-one with kids. And you find kids every day, wherever you go. You had no problem getting a game going,
Oh, excellent. So, actually, and so Malta, the winter, you mentioned the winter. Now,
Yes.
was it cold in the winter? Like, where you're from, we're in Long Island, or was it...
No, well, the coldest it gets in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
And we don't get a lot of rain. That's one of the things that we're always short of water until they got these machines now that they get water from the sea, of course. But no, it doesn't get very cold, so you can always play soccer.
Now, you said water polo wasn't your game, so when
No, I mean, we fooled around with it, but no, it wasn't the game that I...
So would you still get, like, pickup games of soccer in the winter, since it was still in the 40s, or would you just not play?
Oh, no, we played all winter.
Oh, so you did play all winter.
We start in September and finishes in May, June, and we played all through.
Okay.
Never stop. There's no snow, so we never stopped for that.
Oh, okay.
If it's rain, we're fine.
Excellent, excellent. So now, give me an idea back then. Give the viewers an idea what year this was. Like, what year are we talking about? You're in Malta playing soccer.
Well, starting playing soccer, maybe, let's not exaggerate, so I say maybe I was 10 years old, let's say. And I played for school teams then, and then club teams, and professional at the end.
Wow.
Go through that line.
So now for the training for soccer, I know today it's a lot different where people have they're doing weight programs and they're doing all different types of programs. back then, was it just you just played soccer? That was your training, or how did that work?
That's it. We just went and played in the fields, and when it's time to play soccer, we went and played soccer. As a professional, yes, we had training. No training of weights or things like that. It's just with the ball and the field, period.
Gotcha.
And some running for stamina.
Wow. So that's interesting. Now, did you travel to other places, or pretty much all your games were based in Malta?
They were all based in Malta. We had teams, coming from Europe, and what they did at the time as a professionals now. And they normally, which I was in one of them, I was selected. They take two teams, they put them together, they pick the best from those two teams, and they played against this one. One of them that I played against was a French team called La Chaux de France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes, I was still my first year there, my first 2-3 games that I played, and I was picked out of 30 people. I was one of the 18 people going to the field. You know.
Okay. So, and then what age were you when you became a professional player?
I was 18 years old.
18.
Yes.
Wow. So you were one of the younger. Like, what were most of the professionals on the team at that age?
Well, in their 20s, you know.
Oh, okay, 20.
Early
But still,
20s.
when you're that young, 20 to 18 is a big difference.
Yes, and for the first time playing professional, you know.
Yeah. That's incredible. So now, that I understand at 18, that's when you left Malta and came to America. Now, is that your choice, or?
Well, yes, my choice, only because my whole family was coming up this way, and I just didn't want to stay there by myself. So yes, I came to Malta. I only played 4 games professionals, and then I came to this country. You know.
But it must have been kind of overwhelming that you're on a professional team, which I imagine at the time in Malta was a pretty big, prestigious thing.
It is a big prestigious thing, and I still till today just wondering what would have happened to me ever, because a lot of Maltese guys that made it big, they all moved to England, and they were scouted by English teams and so forth and so on. Could I have been one of them? Possibly not. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely had a good start.
Yeah, it looks to me, though, from what I see, that you made the right decision.
I definitely did.
Definitely. So give me your. Did you take a boat or did you fly?
No, we took a boat. There was no flying.
Wow.
Yet.
Now, how long of a boat trip was that?
That was 17 days, if I remember right.
17 days on a boat.
On a boat.
Wow.
And it wasn't a big boat.
No.
It was called Nia Hallas, the name of the boat. It was a small boat, kind of. I had a picture, as a matter of fact, that I'm taking a picture in the back of the boat where the wave was higher than the boat.
Are you serious?
I'm not.
Wow.
That's true. Yes, it was a Greek ship, and they had a lot of Greek people, as a matter of fact, and on the ship, and then they stopped in Malta, and from Malta they came here.
Wow. And then, so did you arrive at Ellis Island? Is that where you?
No, I arrived in Jersey, actually.
Oh, in Jersey.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't ask me where or what.
Okay.
All I know is that my uncle came to pick us up. We came up, took train or something, and came up at 42nd Street around, and there was about quarter of an inch of snow on the ground, and I thought my ears were going to fall off, which I never seen snow before, by the way. That was the first time I saw snow.
So you're in Malta, you're a professional soccer player. Now you leave Malta just out of the blue. You take a 17-day boat trip on a small boat, and then you arrive in New Jersey and it's snowing. You've never seen snow.
No.
And then Manhattan, did you see New York City in the background?
Yes, well, we came up on 40th Street, and then we took a bus to go, at the time was Manhattan, and on 28th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue.
Wow, you must have felt like you left the planet and went somewhere else. I mean,
not only that, and I look at the buildings, they're 5 stories, 6 stories, 10 stories, and where I came from was only 2-story buildings, period, you know.
Yeah, wow. I can't even imagine.
And
What's going through your mind? Like, give me an idea.
What's going through my hands and my feet and my legs? I had to go five-story up high to go to my aunt's apartment, which is where we went to.
Oh, really? Wow.
With these luggages hanging in my hands, and
Wow.
going up 5 stories. It was no fun.
Yeah, I bet.
And the first thing I said, what the hell am I doing here?
Now, so you get here, it's winter. I'm sure you're chomping at the bit because you're used to playing soccer every day of your life.
Oh, yes.
So now what do you do? Are you like, is it ever going to get warm?
Well, that was always my question. But it did get warm and it did get nice at times, and you get used to it. It wasn't easy. It took me 3 years before I decided I have to go back to Malta to see what it's like.
Okay.
And when I went back to Malta, I only lasted, I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks. I lasted 2 days, and I said, all of my friends gone. And I came in here and I said, okay, I had enough of Malta.
Now, was that a boat trip again, or did you
No.
fly
At the time I fly, that's what they called a 21-day excursion. In those days, you could go anywhere within that circle and stop as long as you're back by 21 days. Oh, yes.
Wow, that's a neat experience.
And I stopped in Italy, I stopped in England, I stopped in Malta. I was supposed to stop in France, but they were shooting at each other at the time in the airport. And I said, I'm not going there.
Yeah, smart. Smart. Now, so you 3 years later you went back to Malta, but so you're in New York City now. Do you look for a job? What do you do?
I had the job the second day I was here.
Really?
Maybe. Oh yeah. I don't know what day it was. I know it was March 3rd, and I don't know what day that was. But anyway, whenever the next day of you could work, I went looking for a job, which they gave me a job.
Oh wow.
Making $40 a week as a matter of fact those days.
And what were you doing?
Well, we were doing in the Coca-Cola wooden boxes with the crates for the bottles.
Yep.
And in the bottom of it, there is a half-inch steel band, and I just hit those bands into the thing. They had a rotating that goes in, and one shot down. You better do it.
So it was like an assembly line, pretty much.
Kind of, yes.
So now you're doing that. Are you looking for, hey, I need to start playing soccer again? Do you look for a team?
Oh, I was playing, yes, the same thing, yes. I played for, there was Maltese clubs.
There were in New York.
In New York. We had 2 Maltese clubs, one in Astoria, one in Manhattan. And I played for the one in Astoria, which was the better club at the time. And yes.
Now, did you play other, like the Italians and the Spanish?
I also played, for Brooklyn Stallions, they were called, which is Brooklyn Italian.
Oh, wow.
In Brooklyn.
Nice.
They recruited me to play with them. I played with them for 1 year, but I didn't speak the language, so it was tough. And they were all, you go to the club, that's the only language they talk.
Now that's a good point that you brought up. I didn't even ask you. So you're 18 and you're leaving Malta. Do you even know how to speak English at this point?
Yes, Malta is bilingual. So
it is?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so that was nice.
And you learn English in school.
Oh, great. Okay.
They're all with an accent like mine, or worse, or better. Some of them better. Anyway.
But so you had a nice advantage.
Yes, no, I could understand you perfectly, whether I can answer you back perfectly, but understand you perfectly.
Oh, perfect. So you're playing soccer now. Were there pro teams at the time in America, or was it all just kind of like
not that I know of?
Clubs?
No, yeah, more just semi-pros. We called it.
Gotcha.
I was in a semi-pro teams that I got some money, but nothing to talk of.
Gotcha. So then from there, you're a father of 5 sons. So then you got into coaching.
Yes, I did.
And from all the letters that I saw and the Hall of Fame, it seems like you have impacted a ton of young men's lives.
I went through thousands of them, maybe.
Wow.
Because I coached for about 35 years at least.
35 years you dedicated to coaching.
My sons, they were still in school, and I used to go to the fields, kick some balls with them. And one of the guys that I used to kick balls with, his name is, I can mention his name, Gordon Barr, who he went to college and came out of college, and he somehow got in touch with the police boys club or something like that.
Oh wow.
And he got some money from them, and he called me, said, I want to start some teams. He said 3 teams as far. He's going to take one, and myself and another guy. He said, and they have some money for us. Would you be interested in coaching one of the teams? I said, yeah, no problem. And that's how I started.
Oh, wow.
He sent me to the place to get the money, and I signed everybody up and started my coaching career.
Now, what I found super interesting the other day when I met your youngest son, Joe, correct? Was he the youngest?
Yes.
Yes, that he's the women's coach at Loyola.
That's correct.
And it was neat.
Loyola in Baltimore.
In Baltimore, yep. And he was telling me stories that at one point, actually it was Larry who was telling me that you ended up coaching against each other. So you were coaching one team of boys,
yes,
and then your son was coaching another team, and you guys were playing in the championship?
That's the Long Island Junior Soccer League. Yes, we had 2 teams. So we picked all the kids, and then we separated the teams, tried to make them as equal as possible. And I kicked his butt as I.
He did admit it. He said he told me that you're up. You won 3 of them, and he won 2. So you were 1 up. You got.
He
you
said
one
he
up
beat. He said he beat me too. I don't believe it.
So yeah, and now this is a perfect lead because one of the things I've noticed being you around the last 3 months is your competitive side. You know, I can tell just between you and your boys.
Everybody wants to be grandpa, and regardless what we're playing, whether it's tennis, golf, soccer, or you name it, or even cards, whatever. Very competitive.
Now, and you know, I feel all the great athletes that I've seen in the world, from Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter, Tom Brady, who's still playing it at the age of 43, and just won a Super Bowl championship. They all have that competitiveness.
Oh, you gotta have it.
I mean,
very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like it fuels you. You know, I saw you out there, and I knew there were some shots the other day that 5 years ago you would have had it, but you were still almost. I was getting worried that you were going to die for some.
Unfortunately, one of my knees, started telling me to slow down a little bit. So, but otherwise, no, I can. You know, you put a ball in front of me, I'm going to go run after it.
Now, would you say, besides helping you in sports, has your competitiveness helped you in just your everyday life, in the real world? Like, give me a little insight into that.
Well, I tell you what, here's the thing, because you come across things that parents or maybe kids or whatever, and they put you in a spot, or I would like to see my kid this, or I would like to do this, or whatever the case. My focus was always one thing. If it's soccer or business, if it's good for the team, then it's good for most of the kids. And if it's good for as far as business, if it's good for the business, then it's gonna be best for everybody in the long run.
Now, when did you take up golf and tennis?
Well, I was still playing up till I was in my late 60s, I want to say, with the 30 soccer with the 30-year-olds.
So you're coaching and you're still playing?
Oh no, I played, yes.
Oh wow, okay.
As long as I can. Yes, I was in my late 60s, maybe.
So you weren't on the couch watching TV?
No. Even on my early 70s, I was still playing with the 30-year-olds.
Really? Wow.
Really over 30s, yes. That I did, and then when I moved here to Florida, I'm a snowbird, Florida and New York. Then I started taking up golf and tennis.
Oh wow!
And
so just because you moved down here, you're like, oh wow, look at this! I can play golf, I can play tennis.
So yes, there was no soccer for me to play here. So yes, I picked on those two. So yes, I always kept myself busy with something. I love sports. Love sports.
And so, I mean, I guess that's what drives you to keep competing today. It's just your love for sports.
Oh, Yes, I did. I don't know if I should mention this, but anyway, last year, the team, gave me the most improved in tennis.
Oh, wow, really? Nice. That's great.
This year, we started backwards now, though, so.
No, but I think that's something, too, that a lot of people, you know, especially when I was growing up, I felt like people felt like when they got to a certain age, they had to stop doing things. Like a lot of people I'd watched that it was like, oh, I'm 50 now, I got to stop doing stuff. But it seems like you've realized that no, you never have to stop.
No, I want to do more.
Yeah, and then
the older I get, the more I want to do.
You can keep improving. I
Yes.
mean, even to this day, at 87, you're improving every day, which is.
You know, I'm like you said. I compete a lot against everybody, but I compete a lot against myself.
Yep. Yeah. Let's talk about diet, right? Besides drinking Life, the best tasting and highest quality green drink
Which
on
is
the
the
market.
best drink. If you don't mind, I will.
Yeah. Besides that, what else does your diet consist of? Give me, as a kid in Malta, what were you eating as a kid in Malta?
Well, okay. You tasted the pasticci, so we ate a lot of that.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
And that's like a type of pastry with, and what's inside of it?
It's inside. In those days that used to be with meat and peas, and with the other one. And the other one they make is with ricotta and eggs.
Oh, nice.
Mostly. So those are the two flavors, kind
So you're pretty much getting all your food groups, and you have a couple of those. You're getting your meats, your vegetables, your carbs, and your cheese, your dairy.
Well, see, in Malta, every corner, every corner you're going to find a place where they make these pasticci with other things, you know. But pasticci is the big thing, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Besides your physical feats, the thing that amazes me about you is your family and how great they are, how great you all get along. Let's be honest, today in America, the divorce rate's 50%, and who knows, with after COVID, it could be even higher. I mean, at 50%, your odds at the casino playing craps roulette are 50%. So, how did you've been married now 67 years, you said?
Well, I was married when I was 20 years old, and I'm 87 now. Figure it out.
65 years. 65 years. So can you give us any? How'd you do it? How have you been together for 65 years?
2 words.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. No, really. Yeah, we have problems, but my positive thinking always, you know, okay, how we're going to solve this, you know?
Seems like a theme.
Yeah,
Positive
it's like
thinking.
a team. With the kids, they were always together. They love to be together, and I love to be with them. And if there was an argument, it was settled right there and then. They weren't allowed to get away from each other before that argument is solved one way or the other. And they live on a good note away from each other.
Advice.
Thank God we don't have anybody that he doesn't talk to this, he doesn't talk to that, or that. I talk to everybody and I like everybody. You know?
That's great. That's great. It seems to me, though, your life, you were just constantly going. To be able to play soccer, coach soccer, run a business, and have 5 boys, there was no really time of sitting around. You were kind of on the move constantly, no?
And there was no time in, how would I say this? See the worst of my kids. That was my wife's job. Because I was either out here or out there. No, I was very disciplined as far as the kids. Yeah, they got out of the way. In those days, you take a belt on and you hit him a couple of times in the butt, and he straightens out.
Yeah.
And in today's world, that doesn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but look at my kids; they are doing very
They're
well.
amazing.
Thank you.
They're
So.
amazing. And it's, I'm just being around Doris as well. She seems just as positive as you.
Well, she is the one that keeps the family together. She's on the phone with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not a phone guy.
So let's switch gears to business. So you came to America at 18. You started working on an assembly line, and then how did you end up starting your company? Like, how'd that happen?
From there, I went through a few other jobs. One of them is Lily Tulip Cup, which they made the paper cups.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was one of them. Another one was Remington Red, which was a company Well, Remington Rand is big, of course. But I was just a porter. That's all I did. And elevator man. And at that point, I was married and I had my first child, which was Larry. And I said to myself, I can't do this all my life. I got to do something different. And I went to her cousin at one point. We always used to visit. And I was telling him that I'm going back to school. And he said, yeah, what are you going for? And I said, well, I'm going for refrigeration. Because those days refrigeration was coming into the picture. And they said, how would you like to be a sheet metal mechanic? I said, I don't care what, but definitely I'm not going to do it. And they started putting some drawings together and show me this and show me that, whatever. Anyway, he after about 3 months, he said, I think you're ready to go find it. I'll get you a job. You know, and I know somebody, blah, blah, blah. They're looking for people. He got me a job with an outfit called Remington Rand at the end. And as a first-class mechanic.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were learning on the job pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I was making more money than the guys were there for I don't know how long.
Oh, wow.
By telling me I came from Malta, I was working in Malta with the sheet metal. Anyway, that's how I got myself into that job. And I worked there for 6 months, and then they were going out of business. And after 6 months, my cousin again, or her cousin I should say, he said, well, you have 6 months experience now I can get you a job where I am.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he got me a job there. I was very ambitious, you know. I mean, time didn't mean nothing, you know. I just loved to work. And I was there about a year, and the night foreman got in trouble. He was doing some job on the side, and the boss called me in the office, and he said, I want to give you the foreman job in the night. I said, I have, you know, at the time I have already 3 or 4 kids. I said, I don't think I want to do nights. He said, I'm going to double your salary. I said, I'll take it.
Yeah, I bet, right?
I was making $60 a year, a week. I became $130, $130, something like that a week. So that was a big difference. I said, okay. And I became a foreman then and a supervisor. And then I had enough with the, you know, taking care of people. People are always fighting you, whatever.
Yep.
Went looking for another job as a mechanic. I said, I want to work with my hands. I love to work with my hands. And I got another job, and after about 6 months there, they wants to make me a foreman again. I become a foreman, a supervisor. We grew big, and finally they sold the business, and they were going out of business. And that's when I decided. I got 2 other guys, and I said, you guys want to go in business?
Oh, wow.
And we put $1,400 each. One guy didn't have $1,400. I had to put it up for him.
Oh, wow.
And so I put them in the shop. They would buy the machine. They were working in the shop, and I come in at 4:30 because I was still working for these guys because they had a bigger company.
Oh, wow. So you were doing your own thing and working for someone else.
At 4:30, I go in and nobody gets paid just to build the business. And that's how I started in business. We started with 3 people and maybe, I don't know, 500 square foot little nothing.
Well, it sounds, you know, we use a phrase at GCode like pay your dues, addicted to the grind. You were someone that was just always in it, not afraid to work hard, not afraid to get your hands dirty, and that led you to just never stopping. You know, okay, you need me to work nights, you're gonna double me my salary, I'll do it. Like, all right, these guys are going out of business. Instead of saying, now what do I do? You're like, let's start our own business. So it seemed like you're always looking to the next move. Just like in soccer, like, oh, where's my next pass? Where's my next goal?
Always looking at the guy ahead of me and how can I be like him, and move forward.
That's great.
Yeah,
I think that's important. A lot of people don't do that in life.
Very important. I had a lot of confidence in myself. Even when I played soccer, I always, when we go to play against somebody and they tell me, in my mind was always, we're going to beat this team because I'm on this team.
Yeah.
So I had that confidence in myself.
That's great.
And I felt the same way with business. You know, we're going to do well because I'm going to make sure that it's going to be well.
Yeah.
I had that positive thinking all
around. You need it. You need it. I mean,
Huge
they try
positive.
to beat you down in the world.
And I still do. You know.
And I find a lot of times where I think I'm in a dark moment in my life or a bad place or where things aren't going my way, that when I look back to those moments later on, it was actually something that was a great thing that happened because it ended up taking me to somewhere where I wouldn't have went, you know? So it's like, I feel like if you can look at those bad times and say, you know what, I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to get to a better place, most of the time, that's what's really happening anyway, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, and even with my kids, as when they worked with me in the business, 3 of them, and I stayed in the business, and they come with an idea, Dad, I think we're gonna, I want to do this or whatever, and I would never tell them no, don't do it, whatever. Even though at times I knew that I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
It might be worth a lesson.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great, and that's probably. So I was going to ask you about that. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, never work with your family." You know, I'm of the opposite opinion. I've always been someone that I like to work with my friends or I like to work with my family. But there are a lot of people who say, "No, you know, only bad things can happen from it." But it seems that you worked with 3 of your sons and 4 at one point.
We started with 5.
Okay. So all 5 sons had worked with you.
Well, I'll tell you.
And even Doris, right, at one point?
Even Doris, though, that's as a part-time job, kind of. Yeah, but the way that happened is, at the time, from 3 people, we grew to about maybe 20 people, maybe 25, you know, in a 10,000 square foot building from a 500, yes.
And that's a big jump from 3 to 20, 25. Things change a lot,
yes,
right? At that point?
Growing up slowly, of course, you know, from 3 to 10 to 12 to whatever. And all my kids were coming out of college and they're going to work for other people. And I had approached them at the time because I had one partner had left already because he lived way far and said, I can't do this anymore. I said, fine. I told him this is what I think it's worth. I said, here's your turn. Are you happy with this? Yes. Lots of luck to you.
Oh, wow. Great.
And that's one. The other one wanted to, at that point, go into a cash business, and he's got a boat, he's got this. And I knew that if I ask him to sell, I will buy it.
Nice.
So I got all my kids together in my living room, all 5 of them. I said, look, I think I can buy this business. Otherwise, I'll go look for another job. But if you guys want to come in, I'll keep it.
Really?
And I said, no, that will come in. You know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. One kid who's a CPA today, he was, he said that after being there for about 6 months, he said that I didn't go to college to be a bookkeeper. I want to go business on myself. So whatever makes you happy.
Yep.
And my other was Joey. He said the same thing.
See, and that, you know what? That's a great response. Whatever makes you happy. You know, like you're like, yeah, you know what? You tried this, and if you know, and I think that's another. To me, that's one of the. Forget money. I feel like that happiness.
Yes.
But if you can have that happy feeling all the time, that's like priceless.
If you go into something that you don't like, you're not going to get any place.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. And that's how it happened. The other 3 they stayed. You know, Joey went to he coached soccer and he played professional soccer. And the other 3 guys they stayed. After being with me maybe I don't know 10 years or so, maybe longer. I made them equal partners.
Oh, wow.
And we were all equal.
Oh,
It
great.
didn't cost them nothing. Just made them equal partners. But my kids, they helped me build it up, and you know, that's how I felt.
So how many years did you have the business?
Well, it started in 1970, actually.
Wow.
And I got out of the business maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. So it lasted that long?
Oh, well, we just sold it about 3 years ago.
Really?
My kids just sold it and they did
so
very
50,
well.
Wow, so almost 50 years.
Oh yeah, the business was still going strong. They sold it to a huge, what do you call, $1 billion company, French company, and there are the 3 guys that were still there. They can all retire.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, we built it to about 120, 130 people. With a 100,000 square foot building manufacturing.
Wow.
We were probably the biggest manufacturing building in Long Island,
Uh-huh.
precision type sheet metal shop.
Wow.
So
So a 17-day boat ride from Malta. Never been to America, and you come to you're on an assembly line, and you built a company for 150 people. Brought all your sons in, gave them a piece of the company, and you guys sold it, and it's still successful to this day. That's pretty impressive.
well, they're doing very well. They two sons they retired now, Michael and Larry, and my Paul still works for the company because he's young. He's only 55 years old.
Yeah.
So still young. He said if they keep him for another 5 years, he's already there 3 years. If they keep him for another 5 years, he said that's fine. If they don't, I'll retire also.
So now you have a company for 50 years. There had to be, were there any times where the company struggled, where you thought, hey, we're not going to make it, like, and if so, what happened? How did you get out?
Well, in 08, I had to keep company and pay people that I owed money so they stay in business, and whatever else I needed. Yes, I took almost every penny that I had in the bank and sold all the little things that I had in the market, whatever, and put it into the company to keep going. I never told her anything. We just went, this is what I want to do. This is. I had that, again, that positive thinking that this too shall pass, you know. Listen, you're going to have your down time, you know, and you got to keep fighting.
Yep.
You know, and that's how I felt.
And so you did that, and you know, I think it's funny too, because unless you've owned your own business, a lot of people look at you like, oh, this guy, you know, he built his business, everything's so easy, but they don't see the 20 hours a day you're putting into your business. Like you're all selling everything you have to keep it alive, to get it to the next step. They don't realize all the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it.
Yeah. No, and I had a successful business because I run the business as all the workers, they were almost part of my family. You know, every morning I cup of coffee, go and say hello to everybody, and everybody, hi boss, and this and that. And
that's awesome.
That's how I run my business. As a matter of fact, you know, the little project I did downstairs for the fish there, guy that worked for me, he did it for nothing. He didn't have to do. Said, you treated me right. His words were, you treated me right when I needed you. I said, you know, it's not going to cost you anything. So,
and you know, I think that's an amazing outlook. You know, I feel like most of the time you spend in your life is working. So why should it be this horrible experience where you were smart and you made people feel at home, where they left their home but then they went to their other home? So that speaks a lot to me on how you were that successful for that long of a period of time.
I agree 100%. As a fact, it's funny you said that, because when I had a little speech to kind of get some morale up, that was my line. You know, you spend more time over here than you do home.
Yeah.
Why do we have to fight each other? You have a job to do, you do it.
Yep.
You know, I have a job to do and I have to do it. You know, and that's it.
Wow. So was it hard for you to retire?
Yes and no. Yes, but even in my retirement, when I retired, let's say I was 70, let's say, and I still. This is a funny one. But I told my kids when I retired. By the way, the price of the company, my price was, look, this is what I need to live.
Yeah.
I need to have this. I need to have this. I need this kind of money.
Yeah.
That's my price.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I got out of that. It was worth more than that.
Yeah.
But I don't need it. You know, you're working for them. But one of the things that I told my kids, I said, look, yes, I'm retiring, but I still like to have a place where I can hang my hat when I'm going to come here. I said, yeah, no problem.
That's great.
And they hang a hook right next to the door, so I'm on my way out.
That's great.
That was the joke, of course.
That's
But they
great.
did. But no, I had a desk, and every morning I used to go there at 8 o'clock, and they used to give me things that, look, Dad, we've been doing this
Yep.
for 20 years. See if you can do it a little different.
Yeah.
I was good at that.
Oh, wow.
To take
okay.
something and make it better. You know?
Nice.
I was,
nice.
yes.
So your mind's always working.
Yeah, I was very helpful to engineers that of big companies that when it comes to sheet metal, I have to say I knew about sheet metal as good as anybody.
Wow, okay. So, I think too, a lot of times when people retire, they don't have anything else to do. So then they just kind of fade away. But it seems to me, even if you're retiring, you keep yourself so busy with with family. I mean, 15 grandchildren, 5 sons, golf, tennis, everything else. You have a full day just in doing all of that.
Definitely.
I'm sure it was easier to transition than a lot because.
Yeah. At times, my wife would say, "Where are you going to go play tennis? Your team." I said, "Listen, when I stop doing that, shoot me because I'm ready to go."
Yeah. And then you came down here to Florida in what year? How many years have you been coming down here now?
Oh, it's about between 24 years, maybe 4 years renting, and maybe 20 years since I bought.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And now would you say that was one of the better decisions you've made coming down here?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I love it here. The only thing it took about 3-4 years for Florida to grow on me. I just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And once it grew on me, then I used to look forward to come here.
Excellent. What are your thoughts on stress and just when it came your way? How did you handle it?
Yeah, I'm sure I did at times, but it was always, look, if there is a way, I'm going to find it, how to get out of this,
Yeah.
And that's how I fought it with the, again, positive thinking, Did I have? Yes, I did have stress. When things are going smooth in company, you love to go there, and when things are not going too well, I got bills to pay and I don't have the money or whatever. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Or an unsatisfied, a guy that I'm building something for him. He didn't get it in time, and it's screaming at me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's stress.
Yeah.
But and we're human. Things happen.
So even Vinny Mallia has his days where he kind of just want to crawl up in the corner and kind of call it a day sometimes.
Yes,
right?
definitely. But I won't let it get me.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I will not let it get me.
Would you say, were there any things that your parents, bestowed on you that that have been helpful to you throughout?
Okay, that's a different story again because my mom died when I was 2.5 years old. So,
Wow. Okay.
So I was brought up with my grandparents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And and with
So
my
you're
aunt-
already overcoming things at 2.5.
Yes.
That's got to be one of the hardest things at 2.5 to lose your mom.
Yes, as a young kid, I was only 2.5 years old. I didn't know.
Yeah, you don't remember,
So,
but yeah.
so my grandparents became like my mother and my father, and my aunts became and uncles became like my brothers and my sisters. Actually, one of my uncle became more like my father because he was really strict with that.
Yep.
He's the guy that got me in the band that you took pictures
Oh,
of
okay.
and what have
Yep.
you.
Yeah, that's right. He played an instrument as well.
So
Incredible.
if there was a problem, my grandmother would call him before she would call my father to straighten me out, and he did. So at times.
See, I think too that mentality back then was great. A lot of people today they feel sorry for them. They blame everything that happened to them. So a lot of people would be like, "Well, my mom died when I was 2.5, and that's why I wasn't successful, and that's why my life wasn't as good as it was." But it seemed like you had family around you that said, "Okay, you know what, this happened, but we're gonna move on, and we're gonna go forward." And I think that's helpful too. We're in a society today where I just feel like it's not as strong. People aren't as strong or as mentally tough. Mentality. I think that was something we were talking about before we started this interview
I agree.
is the mentality you have is important.
Yes.
You know, give me a little bit on that mental toughness. You know, what are your thoughts on that?
But mental toughness is, again, things will come and things will get you down, but you have to just keep fighting.
Yep.
I always find a way to get out of whatever situation it is.
Yep.
And
I love that.
And that's the thing, just don't stay down. Come up and fight, you know?
Yep, yep. So, I guess the Fountain of Youth, I really feel like you've somehow attained it. We talked about in the introduction. So can you give me a little, what do you feel how'd you tap into this Fountain of Youth? How are you at 87, you know, to have all your wits to you, are able to, you know, play competitive tennis, golf 7 days a week, to have a family, grandchildren, like, you know, I think anyone who listens to this interview, the pieces of the puzzle are all there, you know, to take. But let's just wrap it up with, give me your last synopsis on, you know, the Fountain of Youth. Like,
well, the Fountain of Youth, again, I will mention the same thing, positive thinking. Don't let anything get you down that you can't get up anymore. Always come up and fight, number 2. And the other thing I want to add to it, and this is true with me. You see the sun over there?
Yeah.
As soon as I see that sun, I am gleaming all over and I'm ready to fight the world.
I love it.
You give me a day with all clouds and rain and this and that kind of gets me a little down. That's when I'm done. But what do I do about it? I wait for the next day. Hopefully the sun comes up. You know. So yes, and it's true. With me, the sun works wonders.
I love it. I agree. I love the sun. And you know what? You shined a lot of light, talking about the sun, you shined a lot of light on a lot of great things today. And thank you so much for welcoming me into your home and sharing your life with me. You know, I find that people of your knowledge, you're a wealth of knowledge, and I don't think people tap into that enough these days. And I couldn't be more happy to have been able to share and understand, you know, your upbringing and all your achievements in your life. So thank you so much. And I'm sure GCode Nation, you guys are had a real treat today, because we met one of a kind, Vincent Mallia. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Really nice meeting you and your family.
Yeah, let's give him a little shot of, like, this is where Vinny lives. So now you know.
Half the year.
When he talks about the sun, it's a pretty great place to live. So there he is, enjoying a little bit of life. Thanks, Vinny.